All right, everyone, there's a couple exciting Nintendo Switch stories we got to talk about today, starting with the discussion around Nintendo Switch Online, specifically the base tier of the service, and how long it has now been since Nintendo has added in any type of new content or value to the base tier, and why it has a lot of fans feeling like it's all but been forgotten. Then the big talking point for today's video is, amidst all of the major gaming acquisitions we are seeing take place from big companies like Sony and Microsoft, I want to have a discussion today around Nintendo's history with acquisitions, what they've actually gone on record and said in terms of companies they may acquire, and the reason why they may be poised to acquire new game developing studios in the year of 2022 and beyond. What's up, Nation? If it's your first time on the channel, make sure you join Sunbro Nation by subscribing below, hit the like button on this video if you enjoy it today, and make sure you turn on your bell notification icon so you're kept up to date with all the newest gaming news. Now, as I mentioned, guys, we're hopping through a couple different stories today, and I want to kick it off with a discussion around Nintendo Switch Online, specifically the base tier of this plan, and how long it has now been since Nintendo's actually updated the service. Because to take you on a quick history lesson, Nintendo was actually not launching the Switch with a Nintendo Switch Online service. We were told it would be added in later on, and when the Switch launched, I believe in March of 2017, it took all the way until September of 2018 for Nintendo Switch Online to officially be unveiled and launched for the service. Of course, this was put out with monthly tier subscription options and an annual option, like I hope we see added to the expansion pack with the monthly tier side of things in the future. But for now, you can only buy the expansion pack in an annual price point. Regardless, on the base service, they gave us the option to purchase either way we like, or you could even buy in a 3-month formula. Like, they had multiple tiers and multiple ways to actually pay for this service. Well, now fast forward into the future, of course, we have the expansion pack launch in late 2021, actually October of 2021, and now all attention has effectively been shifted to that expansion pack service, as we've seen them add in one new Nintendo 64 game per month. Is looking like the schedule that they are going to be somewhat committed to, or loosely committed to, which we will talk about how that history has gone over the course of time with the base service here in a second. But you know, we're probably expecting one title a month for N64 games to be added to this service, and we have seen them do a single batch of 5 Sega Genesis games added to the expansion pack service. However, we have not seen a single update on Nintendo Switch Online base service in 188 days, and I was scrolling on Twitter and saw somebody point this out online, and it just kind of blew my mind that it's been that long. It also occurred to me that I've had a lot of you commenting below when we talk about Nintendo Switch Online that the only thing Nintendo is focused on is this expansion pack now, and the base service has been all but forgotten. To make things a little bit worse, Nintendo actually sent out this last update 188 days ago with 3 SNES games that I'm sure all of you guys have heard of, right? It's Claymates, it's Jelly Boy, and it's Bomboozle. Like, I mean, everybody had those on the SNES, correct? No, of course not. Nobody had those games, and they were definitely a shovelware pick, just a little band-aid, something to throw out a last update. And since then, it's been radio silence. And if you're somebody who's paying for that $20 annual price point, which is not very much to be fair, you are now really only paying for online cloud saves and the ability to, of course, continue to upload your save data to the cloud, and the ability to play online against friends. And of course, you do still have access to that NES and SNES classic library, but it's got to feel a little bit stale for a lot of people at this point. It definitely does to me, and I hope that Nintendo doesn't just totally forego the classic base service for this new expansion pack and just completely stop updating it. You can argue that they've added in a lot of the marquee, the standout SNES and NES titles, but there's still games that are missing, such as Mario RPG and The Legend of the Seven Stars. Like, we got to get that one on there. We got to get Earthbound on there. And if you run out of SNES and NES games, maybe it's time to actually talk about adding in the Game Boy and Game Boy Color family of systems to the base service to continue to update and support, even if it's not monthly, at least once a quarter with new games. Imagine playing through maybe like Pokemon Gold or Silver or Yellow. You know, maybe we get some of those classic handheld titles, the Donkey Kong Land games or Super Mario Land games, to kind of fill this gap of just feeling like you're paying for a very basic online subscription service that really has not been supported with ongoing content and consistent updates like it was originally promised to launch with. When it did launch, as you know, we were supposed to get monthly updates. Eventually that kind of turned into quarterly, and now it's just sporadic if they happen at all. So I definitely definitely hope Nintendo recognizes how many subscribers they have that are still just a base subscriber that are out there continuing to pay money either monthly or annually. And I think they need to step up the game and start to have a discussion around either bringing in new systems or beefing up the existing NES and SNES library. So I want to hear from you guys in the comments down below how you're feeling about this now that it's been 188 days since we've seen any kind of updates to the NES and SNES library. And what do you want to see added in specifically? Would you prefer some of those missing titles like Earthbound and Mario RPG, or would you prefer something more akin to new family of systems like the Game Boy and Game Boy Color? And if you do think Nintendo will change anything to the base service at all, when do you think we'll get any kind of future announcement? Because obviously we are right around the corner from a potential February Nintendo Direct. So I want to hear from you guys in the comments down below on all things NSO and what you think the future of the service holds for us as consumers. So please share with me all your thoughts and feelings on Nintendo Switch Online base tier service in the comments down below. Now, the other story we're talking about today has to do with all of these major gaming acquisitions we are seeing take place in the year of 2022, as we've only completed the month of January so far, and we already have 3 historical deals that have been announced from the companies of Take-Two Interactive, Sony, and Microsoft. And it has a lot of Nintendo fans wondering if Nintendo will respond in a similar way, as we are kind of seeing the gaming landscape shift in a big way, similar to what you saw movies and media companies go through in years prior. As you know, you had most notably like AT&T acquiring Time Warner as one of the biggest mergers in entertainment like ever, and Activision Blizzard being acquired by Microsoft is in that same conversation, as they are actually similar dollar amounts in terms of how much money it took those companies to be acquired. And I do think this is the start of a major shift in the overall way that gaming is pushed to consumers at the end of the day, as if these acquisitions continue to happen, and we will go over a story here in a second that suggests that they will, it will very quickly be who has the most studios, the most horsepower to develop new games, and we may see the subscription models start to be very prevalent in the gaming space like we are seeing right now with other sources of media such as your movies and your music. Think about how many subscriptions you probably have just to listen to music and just to watch movies. I do think that that could be a very potential reality for the future of gaming, and you have to ask the question about Nintendo because they definitely play their cards close to their chest. You typically never know what they're planning more than a few months ahead of schedule, and they keep things under wraps. And I want to look at some investor meeting comments that they've mentioned on their stance on potentially acquiring companies. But before we do that, I want to quickly hop over to VGC and read through some comments that Jeff Keighley actually made around this potential for more mergers to happen and why some of these could be Nintendo related. They definitely are not confirmed to be that at this point in time, but I want to start there, as it does definitely look like we are going to see more mergers take place and acquisitions take place this year, and then shift the discussion to what Nintendo may do ultimately to respond. So let's quickly read through this VGC article together. Jeff Keighley suggests more big video game acquisitions are on the way following Xbox's Activision deal and PlayStation's Bungie buyout. Further games industry consolidation is reportedly on the horizon, with the key industry figure claiming plans for several big acquisitions are at an advanced stage. On January 10th, Rockstar's parent company Take-Two revealed its intention to purchase mobile gaming giant Zynga in a $12.7 billion deal, at the time the biggest ever in the games industry. The following week, it was announced that Microsoft plans to purchase Activision Blizzard in a $68.7 billion deal, which would give Xbox exclusive ownerships of franchises including Call of Duty, Warcraft, Overwatch, Crash Bandicoot, and Guitar Hero. And on Monday, Sony Interactive Entertainment revealed it's set to acquire Destiny studio and Halo creator Bungie in a deal worth $3.6 billion. Discussing the industry consolidation on Tuesday, influential figure Jeff Keighley suggested more major deals could be announced sooner rather than later. The Game Awards creator tweeted, "Have heard from multiple people. As you might suspect, there are a few other big video game deals in final stages of negotiations. It's going to be an interesting year." So obviously, with somebody like Jeff Keighley, who has been so prevalent in the gaming space over the years and has really become the face of a multitude of different gaming events as time has gone on, he obviously has a ton of inside connections when it comes to the industry with both developers and publishers alike. And it's not surprising for him to maybe hear some behind the scenes rumblings that there's going to be more deals that happen. And I do think we're going to continue to see this take place mainly from Sony and Microsoft, as I think the game of chess that they are playing is is a little bit different than what Nintendo is doing, as they are, continuing to do their own unique style of console experience with this hybrid concept that we've seen be so successful with the Switch. But I also don't think there's any reason to rule out the possibility that Nintendo will acquire some more studios and bring them into their first party lineup, as they've actually stated this in previous investor meetings. And there's a couple things I want to highlight from Shintaro Furukawa that we've seen him say over the last 2 investor meetings that we've seen them hold. So let's quickly read through those together. So back in May 7th of 2021, Nintendo president Shintaro Furukawa was asked specifically about the war chest or cash on hand that Nintendo had at the time, which was $9.2 billion, and how they would potentially use those cash reserves in the future. He was quoted here saying the following: "We need to secure cash reserves to ensure financial stability, but if we do need to respond to rapidly advancing technological innovation, we may acquire companies that possess the technology," he said via Neki paywall. Then fast forward to November of 2021, and IGN did an article breaking down basically what was said in their other financial investor meeting when this kind of similar topic came up. With money to invest, the company says that its mid to long-term plan revolves around 2 broad areas: building software assets and developing ways to expand its relationship with consumers. Where those software assets include games, Nintendo has stated that its first priority is to organically expand its own organization to continue Nintendo's creative culture. Despite a focus on developing its pre-existing studios, the publisher didn't fully rule out the possibility of purchasing further companies in the future, explaining that it was not dismissing the possibility of M&A or merger and acquisition activities. So while it remains to be seen if anything that Keeley knows about and is referencing has anything to do with Nintendo, it's definitely still on the table for them to discuss and potentially acquire future organizations and companies into their own organization and bring them into the first party lineup of developers that they have. And it is unlike Nintendo to go and spend a lot of money on acquisitions, as we've seen them do it most recently with Next Level Games back in January of 2021, so just about a full year ago now. And prior to that, the last acquisition they had made was actually 13 years in the past, so it's not common for them to go out and acquire a bunch of companies. I don't think we're going to see them do anything even close to what Sony and Microsoft are trying to swallow up right now in the gaming industry. If I was a betting man, I say we see Microsoft do another 1 or 2 notable deals, and we probably see Sony try to go out there and really buy up a bunch of companies. And it'll be interesting to watch how all of this plays out, but it might make sense for Nintendo to purchase some of their existing relationships that are technically not first party companies or owned companies by Nintendo at this point in time, such as Mercury Steam with their excellent edition of Metroid Dread. Like, might as well have them join the team. It makes a lot of sense. It doesn't seem like they're a giant company that they would have to spend a ton of money on. Maybe Platinum Games, the developer of Bayonetta, could be in the conversation, and developer of Astral Chain, even Star Fox Zero. That one could make a lot of sense, as they've done many collaborations with Nintendo. And one that I definitely don't think would happen, but I would love to see happen, just for like my own historical, like what I've gone through growing up and seeing the Sega and Nintendo wars back in the day. I would love to see Nintendo acquire Sega and bring in Sega as a first party studio for Nintendo. Imagine Nintendo's influence on 3D Sonic games going forward. It could be a really exciting thing, but again, that's like a highly unlikely and very something that I'm not expecting to happen, but I think I would love to see it happen personally, as somebody who's grown up as a Sega and Nintendo fan my entire life. But I want to hear from you guys at this point in the video, what your personal speculation and predictions for future mergers that we may see take place in the year of 2022. Which companies do you think are buying up the most? Do you think we're going to see Nintendo make any notable moves and actually acquire their own companies and bring them into their first party lineup? Or do you think that this is something that Nintendo will continue to sit on the sidelines and watch these other companies get bought up but not participate in the action themselves? So I do look forward to hearing from you guys on all the stuff we talked about today in the comments down below before you leave the video, as I do look forward to getting a back and forth conversation started with you all around these topics. Thanks so much for watching the video today, everyone. I do truly appreciate you all sticking around until the end. I do at this point in the video want to invite you all one more time to join Sunbro Nation if you haven't done so already. Do so by subscribing below, hit the like button on your way out if you enjoyed it today, and make sure you turn on your bell notification icon so you're kept up to date with all the newest gaming news. That's going to do it for me, guys. I hope you all have a great day. Sunbro Nation, out.